Welcome back, everybody. Okay, time for one last recipe with cranberries. I think it's such a fun thing to do something special for the family, especially on the weekends. Make something unexpected. And this would do it. It's my cranberry orange coffee cake. And don't worry, it is so easy. It just starts with a box of yellow cake mix, and then you just jazz it up with some ingredients that you probably have on hand. So pick yourself up some fresh cranberries and then get busy on this recipe. It's just so fun and so delicious and so easy. So we start out with basically, as I mentioned, one box of yellow cake mix, and whenever box cake mixes go on sale, I like to stock up because you never know when you're going to need a treat at the last minute, or it's a weekend morning and you're just craving something a little special. So one box of the yellow cake mix. I'm also going to do one package, and I'm using, this is a really, makes a big batch. It makes a 9 by 13 or 2 8-inch rounds. So I've got one block of softened cream cheese, and I'm just going to get that started a little bit before I start adding the rest of my ingredients. So as you know, coffee cake is denser than like a regular type of cake. No frosting needed. And it's just, I don't know, for me it's one of my favorite things is a good coffee cake. So now we've got 3 eggs. I was feeling daring, and I just decided to break them right in there. I think I need to go buy a lottery ticket today. Okay, no shells. It's a good day, Ann. We've got our cake mix. So this is one standard size yellow cake mix. A third of a cup of oil. Quarter of a cup of milk, and I'm just going to do that. So you don't want to follow the recipe on the back. You want to follow my recipe. You don't want to follow the recipe on the back of the box. And then we've got some sugar. Cranberries are naturally very tart, so we're going to add a little extra sugar to this cake mix to kind of balance that out. So you want to mix this up really well. It's going to be a thick batter. See, it's much thicker than a regular cake batter. And it's okay if it's not quite as smooth as a regular cake batter too, because again, this is a coffee cake. Okay. Now, to our batter, we're going to add some fresh cranberries, about 2 cups of fresh cranberries. You can just throw them in there whole, or you can coarsely chop them. When they bake, they kind of pop a little bit, so I think they look really, really pretty whole. But if you wanted to, you could chop them up a little bit. And then cranberry and orange really work nicely together. So we are going to do about the zest, about a tablespoon of orange zest. And I just use a microplane, and that way you can really zest it nicely. And half of the orange zest doesn't get stuck into your grater. So at this point, when the cake batter is done, you just fold the cranberry. Oh, and that smells so good, that orange zest. And the orange zest into the batter. Now, as mentioned, you can do this in one big 9 by 13 pan, or you can do it in 2 8 or 9-inch rounds. So you want to spray this really well with baking spray, of course. And then get this batter in here. If you're doing it in the rounds, it's going to take in a preheated 350 oven, 350-degree oven, about 35 to 40 minutes. If you're doing it in a 9 by 13, anywhere from 40 to 55 minutes. Again, it's a pretty dense cake. Just do the old toothpick test to make sure that it's fully cooked. Okay, this is going to be good as is, and you want to make sure and spread it out, this batter. But for me, a good coffee cake has to have a nice streusel topping. More streusel, more better in my book. So let me show you how to make a great streusel topping that'll take this coffee cake to the whole another level. So it starts out with some melted butter. Just going to quickly pop that in the microwave to melt it. And then just a few other ingredients. For a streusel topping, I use things like sugar, flour, cinnamon. Sometimes I'll throw oatmeal in, but it basically is just a mixture of butter and sugar, white sugar or brown sugar. Then, you know, if you've got oatmeal and you want more of an oatmeal topping, you can do that. But we're going to keep this pretty simple and nice and crumbly. And I'm just using flour, sugar, cinnamon, and melted butter. So in goes our sugar, in goes our flour, cinnamon. I like to go heavy, 1 to 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. It's a big cake. And then our melted butter. Just mix this with a fork until it's nice and crumbly. Add a little more flour. You want it to be a real crumbly mixture. Now, while I'm doing this, I have some fun cranberry facts I wanted to share with you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Wisconsin produces more cranberries than any other state in the U.S. So we are tops when it comes to cranberries. A lot of people don't know that. Wisconsin cranberry growers annually harvest enough cranberries to supply every man, woman, and child in the world with approximately 26 cranberries. Not that anyone's counting. That's kind of a fun, goofy fact. In 2004, the cranberry became Wisconsin's official state fruit. So, yep, that's our state fruit, the cranberry. I say you got to cook more with cranberries. And contrary to popular belief, cranberries do not grow in the water. Actually, cranberries are a perennial plant, and they grow on low-running vines in sandy bogs and marshes. So it's just a really neat thing if you've ever seen the harvest. It's beautiful to see, and it's a lot of work. Okay, so here's our yummy crumb topping. And if you've got clean hands, the best way to do a streusel topping is just kind of over the top like this. I'm all about the streusel topping for sure. And I told you this makes a nice batch of streusel topping, so you won't have to be, every piece will have plenty. Instead of saying, I want that middle piece with lots of streusel. Not that I've ever done that before. Okay, so now this goes into the oven. And bakes from anywhere from 35 to 50 minutes, depending on if you're doing the rounds or this great big one. When it comes out, you can just slice it out of the pan. We use the round pans. We sprayed them really well. So if you're having a book club, coffee club, maybe a nice brunch, this would be wonderful for a holiday brunch. Basically, I just ran a knife around the round, and it popped right out. And then I sprinkled a little bit of powdered sugar on the top. Let me cut into it. I want to show you how pretty it looks. It's absolutely gorgeous and so, so yummy. There you go. Cranberry orange coffee cake. Who knew all you need to do was pick up a box of yellow cake mix to make this beauty. Stay with us. We'll be back.